What's up? What's up, everybody? You guys see the faces. Um, Doing a little show for you guys regarding some rumors, also some signings, and also people that did not sign with their actual clubs, which they were with last year. But first and foremost, kick it off with introductions as always. What's up, Guru here from the Dish, as you already know, talking baseball, hanging out with the fellas. It's a little cold out here where I'm at in Maryland. Got the sweater in the house and also the Scully, the Giants, even though they're not doing so well right now. But anyway, talking about that another day. My fellas, how y'all doing? Kyle, what's up, bro?
Hey guys, just hanging out over here. It's a nice crisp 45 degrees down in New Mexico today. But we're ready as always to talk about baseball.
Storms, what's up, brother?
45, man. You got a heat wave over there. 30 degrees in eastern Ohio. But y'all know me. I'm just happy to be here.
Famous intro. What's up, Ty?
No complaints here. Nice, sunny day in the valley. 70 degrees. So y'all can come on down. Hopefully, it stays that way in the mornings though. It's pretty cold. But let's talk about how free agency seems to be heating up. I mean, could this be potentially one of the best classes we've seen in a while? Probably since the Machado Harper fiasco. But who knows?
Yeah, man, I think so. And more importantly, the biggest thing is that we have a agent right behind you. Scott Boras is going to probably play a big role in this, and some of the free agents that are out there. As you know, he always tries to get the biggest money in contract for his players, but we'll get to that shortly. Let's kick it off, Storms. Go ahead, man. You have some names you want to mention. Start us off, Bo.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go in try and go in somewhat chronological order here. But the obviously the first signing of free agency also ended a lot of speculation. Kershaw taking that was it 20 million for 1 year to go back.
No, it was like 17, I think.
Okay. A lot of people thought he was going to end up in Texas, but myself included. But Ty got his man back for at least one more year. But one of the big ones I wanted to hit on is Friday, not this past Friday, but the one before, the 11th. The San Diego Padres re-signed reliever Robert Suarez to an absurd for a reliever, not that it isn't deserved, 5-year contract worth $46 million. I think this was a great signing. And this dude's got a really good story too. 30-year-old rookie last year, spent 5 years in Japan before he finally made it to the show. And then came over here and just absolutely crushed it for the Padres. And we were talking before the show started too. I feel like this is secondarily to the production they're going to get out of him. I feel like this is a really good move for San Diego because we're seeing more and more free agents come over from Japan. And to have a guy on the roster that spent extended time there, it would be something that I feel like would be attractive to Japanese free agents coming over. As a guy that could help ease their transition. I'm sure knows the language very well, and so guys wouldn't necessarily have to take their own personal translator with them everywhere they went while they're with the team. So yeah, A+ signing for me for those reasons. What do y'all think?
Yeah, Kyle, touch on that, man, because I know your Japanese players well, and there's a Japanese ball player that's got a contract offered by the Mets that we should touch on right now. That Storms actually just said the Japanese wave coming this way.
First off, is that because I'm Asian or I'm just messing around? So yeah, it's going to be an attractive offer, especially because, like you said, he spent a lot of time overseas, and when you find guys that either spent time over there or know guys that spent time over there and then transition to the big leagues, it makes that decision-making process a little better. So one of the things that we've noticed over the last couple of years, Japanese baseball players are really looking at the West Coast, right? I mean, there's been some exceptions to the rule over the last couple of years, but predominantly, yeah, we're looking. You started everything off, and you look at Ichiro coming over to Seattle, right? Now Ohtani, with the Halos, but you still have some oddities that were out there, like the Ice Cave went to Boston, right? So there's still some there, but they're looking for areas. I wouldn't say they look into it, but I would say that it helps the cause when there's a huge Asian population and they want to play baseball there because they know they're going to have that support. But they also know, like, hey, we have all of that. We have guys that are over there, so that can easily transition into that move. So we're looking at what's his? I'm forgetting his Senga. They're looking at Senga, and one of the rumors that is coming out is Senga looking at the Padres. Now, makes sense, right? Because we talked about how Suarez spent some time over there, and that makes the transition a lot easier, especially when you're looking from another pitcher to another pitcher, right? Again, San Diego is a huge Asian community, so that makes that transition a lot easier for him. Now,
teammates over there too.
Yeah, they were teammates. Thank you. I did want to mention that, but thank you. But now you're looking. Does Senga want to create a name for himself, or does he want to join a team that maybe already have, somebody like Ohtani? I'm not saying he's necessarily going to go to the Angels, but they could look that way. I know a lot of teams, their first look is going to be Seattle, right? Because Seattle had Ichiro. That's who all these guys look up to, is Ichiro. So that may be something that they look into. I'm not totally entirely sure if there's been rumors about that yet. But the biggest one, like I said, was the Padres. And Padres do have that huge fan base that I could see him possibly going into if they were deciding to pick him up in the future. But what do you guys think?
Go ahead, Ty.
So I like to add, I think the Padres can leverage Yu Darvish in this case. So I think Senga and Yu Darvish have a great relationship, but Senga's got interest from a lot of sexy teams here. I mean, you think got the Angels who are trying to still continue off of what they did the previous year, which didn't work. Pitchers, and they stole. Yeah, they stole one of mine, so I'm not happy about it with the Angels. But Dodgers are in that conversation. I've heard the Cubs and Giants as well as the Mariners, Blue Jays, and I think Rangers are even interested. So he's getting a lot of attention and can meet with a lot of clubs. So it's up in the air. But I think if you leverage those relationships he does have with the Padres, I can see him going where he feels comfortable and where he has connections. So if that happens, there'll be another case of players leveraging, relationships, which is, huge in free agency. You got to enjoy who you play with and who you play for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But a dark horse in this for me is the Rangers. The reason being, the Rangers want to spend money. At the end of the day, money talks. They already lost out on one player, which is Kershaw. That's the one player they were targeting. If Verlander or DeGrom winds up signing with the respective team they were with last year, I think they make a hard push for him, just because they know that they need pitching and they need pitching bad. And especially now with Bochy, they're in win now mode. They have the middle of the line, meaning the middle of the field and shortstop and second baseman already. And they spend a lot of money on them. They need pitching and they need pitching fast, and they know that. So look out for them. But getting back to Suarez, man, that's a huge pick of Padres. because Suarez was lights out for them until he gave up that 2-run home run to Harper in the NLDS or NLCS, excuse me. He was 5-1 with a 2.27 ERA and 45 appearances during the regular season, just to let you guys know. So, a 30-year-old rookie, a 31-year-old rookie getting a 5-year contract now in the West Coast. Hats off to him, man. He deserves it after playing in Japan for so long and coming over.
With the smart opt out, by the way, the opt out is smart because you factor what's going to happen with Hader too. Like the opt out was pretty strategic.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead and hit on your next player, Storms.
So, Ty talked about this. Oh, good.
I was going to add one more thing. Even though Senga's coming out too, you got to look at, I don't know if you guys saw Yoshida also wants to come over to the MLB. Did you guys see that?
Yes. So
Yoshida's an outfielder. His on-base percentage career-wise is .421. And last year he slashed a .327, .421, .539. So that's something to think about too, because there's going to be teams that are going to be needing outfielders.
That sucks.
I'm sorry.
That sucks.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. But he literally came off a 1,000 OPS season too. So not only is the dude hits, he's just an on-base machine. So something to think about as well, because that's going to be another name. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see him go to like the Cubs or whatever and link up with Suzuki, because that'd be a really good outfield.
That's a good call. I was going to say the Cubs or the Red Sox, because the Red Sox seem to always turn things around when they sign a Japanese player for some weird reason. It always happens that way. Go ahead, Storm.
426 on base is stupid, man.
Yeah, it is.
So Ty touched on this a little bit, so it makes it a nice, easy transition. But the Angels on Tuesday picked up Tyler Anderson to the tune of 3 years, $39 million. This is a fantastic signing for them. It's a bargain deal, in my opinion. Anderson was top 10 in the National League in a number of different categories last year. Top 5 in ERA plus, ERA, wins, walks per 9. And something else that people don't think about a lot, but he was also the second best fielder at his position last year in the National League. Mm-hmm. So I think they got a hell of a deal there. If he continues to progress and produce the way he has, that's going to be a steal.
And
so
we just said the Angels need pitching. And if he went 15-5 last year for the Dodgers, but we always say, 15-5 with a team that has a lineup like the Dodgers, that's not too difficult. Now he's going to have to do it with Ohtani in the lineup, but his trust stay healthy. Kyle. Ty, I'll kick it to you first, man. Thoughts on this?
I'm initially I was like, why? I thought he was going to come back because he had such success with the team, but he wanted to do what he wanted to do, and I support that. I mean, it makes sense. He's still, in SoCal, and you figure the steal. It was smart of the Angels to do that. I mean, he's going to be, 33 next year, and you got him, pretty much as he's figuring out his game. Like he just changed up. The reason why he had his success is because he changed up some of his pitching style as far as his grip, and it worked. Speaking of change up, that was one of the pitches that was impacted. So I wish we would have, kept him, but obviously he's happy, being a Halo, and I can't stop him from that. So could it be a gamble? It depends on how you look at it, but I think this is one of those things where it's high risk, high reward for the Halos, which is something they like to do with pitchers, apparently.
Yeah, they do. And by the way, the contract is 3 years, $39 million. Not too bad, especially if he winds up winning 12, 15 games for them. Go ahead, Kyle.
I think it's a great signing. We've talked about it day in and day out, and we look at the Angels, right? So this past draft, was it this past draft or last year's draft? It was before the lockout when I first came on with you guys. The Angels only drafted pitching. So and because they needed it more than anything, and they still do. They had a couple guys last year that showed out from time to time, showed flashes, but they still need somebody. You can't have Ohtani go out there every day and pitch 7-8 innings because it's not doable for them. They need somebody. I think Anderson makes a good case to be a good number 2 or solid number 2. For some reason, maybe they like somebody that's currently on the roster to be a number 2 and he's a number 3. I think he'd be a stellar number 3, pretty much, well, anywhere really, but I think he could be a number 2 in almost any rotation and still be as effective as he was this past season. And was it 3 years, 39? Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
That's a bargain compared to the market, especially when the market demands pitching. So maybe he just likes the area and wants to stay down there. Maybe the Angels convinced him otherwise that they're a playoff team next year. I guess we'll see when it comes back around, but I think it's a pretty good move. That's a good contract all around.
Yeah, and it's the second year in a row they've jumped the qualifying offers to sign a pitcher because they did that with Syndergaard last year too.
Yep.
That's like if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, we've seen this happen before.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about Montero. So the Astros on Tuesday re-signed Rafael Montero to a 3-year, $34.5 million deal. Did that have an option on it? I did not see.
I'll look it up right now if you want to go ahead and talk about the signing.
But yeah, I mean, this is just another kind of a no-brainer decision to bring him back. He was really good for them last year. I didn't take the numbers down, but I think he had like a 2.27 ERA over 50-some appearances, something like that. And just a guy that every time he goes out there, he's gonna limit the base runners and keep you in the game or give you a chance to get back in it. So that's a good move on the Astros' part.
I don't see any opt-out or nothing like that. I see 3 years, 34.5 mil.
Yeah, I think he was just
there might have been a
thing,
club
yeah.
option, but
Yeah.
okay.
A lot of bonuses. Very bonus.
So here is another deal close to the same of just what we talked about, the pitcher Tyler Anderson, about the same amount, but this is for a bullpen guy. Goes to show you that the Stros are invested in their bullpen, and they know that for you to win a championship, you need a strong bullpen. And they definitely showed that this year, and they're going to continue to have that because those guys are signed for years to come. So they're in a good position. But go ahead, Ty, touch on them, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is a no-brainer, I would say, if you're the Astros, because who else was on the market that you could bring in that did what was done this postseason? Now, have there been rocky moments, for their bullpen at certain times during the season? Yes, but the postseason, they did what they had to do, and Montero was a big part of that. So he became, kind of like a dominant, guy to go to, really consistent for their bullpen. And like I said, when you compare it to who else is all available in a relatively thin market for relievers, since you had one of the key marquee names already shored up, courtesy of your Mets there. But I don't think you want to go out and get Kenley Jensen if you're the Astros. I mean, it's an idea, but I mean, who else out there do you think is going to get this kind of a deal? And have that success and track record to back it up. So I would say a no-brainer for me. Good job for the Astros getting it done so quickly because I'm pretty sure other teams would have offered a little bit more money depending how the market went for relievers this year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially to him showing out in the playoffs. What do you got, Kyle?
So one of the things that we always talk about, right, is bullpens winning. I'm a huge fan of the bullpen. I don't think the bullpen gets enough respect we always think about the closers and the setups, and we always think about rotational guys, but we never think about the rest of the bullpen. This is one of those dudes. So Storms, you were close. It was a 2.37 ERA, going 5-2 with 14 saves, 73 strikeouts in 68 in the third, and 1.02 WHIP in a career high 71 games. So the dude shows out when he goes out there. Like you said, he's going to limit the guys on base. He's going to give the Astros a chance to win every single day he goes out there. And that means a lot to the Astros for obvious reasons. And it paid off in the World Series this year in their run. So bullpen is huge for them. They're going to continue. That bullpen's young. They got a lot of guys. And then they have even guys that are starters that can move into the bullpen and probably vice versa too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him come out every now and again. Maybe as a what do they call him? Like not the starter, but
Spot start.
Opener.
Yeah, the opener. Yeah, something like that. Probably not him because they like to get a lot of innings out of him, or they're trying to get a lot of innings out of him. But if he's continuing to do well at the beginning of his third year, looking at the trade deadline, you might see him getting talked about getting traded, because I think a lot of teams fell short in the playoffs, especially because they don't have deep bullpens, and we've seen that time and time again. So he's money.
Storms, you wanna talk about one more signing, or you wanna get to the rumors?
I got one more signing and 2 trades on the list if we have time.
All right, let's make it
Rizzo.
No, not
Okay.
Rizzo.
Okay, good. I'm
So
good.
Rizzo re-signed with the Yankees. Moving on. So actually, this next signing is a guy that I'm a big fan of. I think he is extremely not necessarily underrated, but he's not talked about. He doesn't get enough shine. Nick Martinez, the Padres re-signed him as well to where was it? So it's 1 year, $10 million with club options for 24 and 25 at $16 million apiece. And the reason I like Martinez, man, he's kind of a jack of all trades kind of pitcher. He had 47 appearances for the Padres last year. 10 of them were starts. He had 8 saves. Just kind of a guy that is going to go in and he's going to be dependable in any role you throw him into, and he's ready for any of them at any time, which is a rare thing. We see sometimes in the playoffs, we see these big name starters come in relief roles and they just don't have it because it's not what they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very versatile guy. And he's only, I think he's 30.
31, 32, one of those.
Yeah. So, I think this is an underrated signing as well. And, so Padres, we just talked about how important the bullpen is. And this guy is someone that's going to be able to fill in and eat some innings and give you quality starts when you have injuries, which, as we know, over 162 season is an inevitability. So,
with a nickname Tricky, by the way, just to go where you said that he does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, this is a good pickup too. I have to agree, Kat, because we don't know what's going to happen with Clevenger, and I think Manea as well. They might be on the outs, so it looks that way at least.
Mm-hmm.
So good pickup by the Padres.
You got anything to add to this, Kyle?
No, not anything different than what other guys say. It's a good signing all the way around. He originally declined a $6.5 million offer for a 1 year, and then he gets picked up for a 3 year. He knew what his worth was, and the Padres saw his worth and picked him back up. Solid signing all the way around.
That's what it's for. Just security blanket just in case. What's the next one you got, Kyle? Storm, excuse me.
I knew what you meant. I was just waiting for you to correct yourself. So big one on Tuesday or on Wednesday. The Toronto Blue Jays traded all-star outfielder Teoscar Hernandez to the Mariners for elite reliever Eric Swanson. And they also got a prospect, another reliever. Oh, what was his name? I can't remember. Adam Macko. But, this is not real sure which way the Mariners are going to play this. There's some rumors that Jesse Winker may be on his way out. So, Hernandez might be a replacement for Winker, or what's the other guy? They may elect just not to bring Haniger back and use Hernandez as his replacement. And then the other thing is with Toronto, man, this is because there's several quality corner outfielders on the market. This is a great trade for them because the bullpen was a problem last year. And to bring in a guy like Swanson, and then have the opportunity to go out and maybe get a guy like Nimmo or Benintendi. They could even go after Bellinger. Like it opens up a lot of possibilities, and I just think the Blue Jays are at a point where this was the right move going forward because having a strong and deep bullpen like we just said is or not having one is part of the reason they ended up at home. So.
Yep. And no better team in baseball other than the Astros to get a reliever from because Seattle Mariners is so deep in the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got anything to add?
I'm glad that Hernandez is out of the AL East because he is a Red Sox killer. There's no two ways around that. But I think it's a solid move all the way around. I mean, I don't really over the last couple of years when you look at like baseball trades, they're almost always pretty balanced. At least in the beginning, they look balanced, and then obviously the season starts to carry on. But this looks like a balanced trade. You get an all-star slugging outfielder for deep bullpen, dominant bullpen help, which Toronto desperately needs because what's the whole point of having all that firepower if you're just going to lose all those runs later in the game anyways? So at least it looks good, and Toronto on the outfield front doesn't look that bad. So I don't think they really need that much depth. Maybe they have somebody in the seam ready to come up too that they may be looking at heavily. But that's all I got.
You got that?
I'll add that for the Mariners, this shows that, hey, we're serious about building around J-Rod, and we know exactly what we need to improve on and what our deficiencies in our lineup was. So you like to see that from a Mariner standpoint, that they understand their assignments. From the Blue Jays, you're wondering, okay, what is going to be your next move considering what you just did? So I'm waiting for the Blue Jays. If it is adding, or making another trade with some other teams, they need to make another move. I think. Does it work out, as far as to address their bullpen concerns? Yes, in that aspect, but still, you want to see what's going to be the follow up to this because you did give up an all-star, and with the Blue Jays, when you're so young and you're still trying to figure it out. Missing pieces here and there. If you want to compete in the AL East, you need to, be mindful of every other team is somewhat improving and on your butts. You got what are the Yankees going to do? You got the Orioles who are up and coming. You got, the Rays who may, do something, as well as the Red Sox kind of figuring out who they want to be. So just be conscious of that in the AL East. Every move, can be magnified, I would say.
Yeah, I think, rumors, like we're going to talk about here shortly, is that the Blue Jays are looking into getting Brandon Nimmo. So that's what I hear going around, adding an outfielder. Nimmo is a very good outfielder, played very good center field for the Mets, but would be a better corner outfielder because he doesn't have a really strong arm. But we'll see what way Blue Jays go. So go ahead, guys. Or Storms, you got more you want to talk about?
Yeah. So one last trade. So on Thursday, the Mariners made another trade and sent Kyle Lewis to Arizona for Cooper Hummel, who spent some time at catcher and in the outfield, I believe, and left for the D-backs. I really want to get y'all's opinions on this trade because I feel like this gives Lewis a chance to play every day if he can get past that lingering knee issue that he's had. And obviously the talent potential are crazy high with Lewis. I don't know a whole lot about Hummel, so I don't know really how to feel about how even the trade is. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
Well, Lewis was rookie of the year that short COVID year, and then he got hurt, and from what I understand, he can't really play every day because it was his MCL that was hurt. So he has the opportunity in the Diamondbacks organization to kind of contribute, but contribute in a way that doesn't really hurt the team because the Diamondbacks really ain't that good, excuse me. So he can contribute and make the team better, playing every other day or every third day, whatever. But as far as Lewis goes, I mean, he won Rookie of the Year, even though it was a short year, and he has great potential. But again, it's the D-backs. We've talked about the D-backs in the past. They don't have a good squad, and they're years away from competing. And he has a chance to play, but he's not going to play every day. But we'll see. We'll see that's intriguing for the D-backs to see if he can possibly get healthy in the future. We'll see, right? Go ahead. I'll kick it over to Kyle first.
So I think it's initially, so before our show the other night, we talked about it, and it just seemed like a very lopsided trade because you have somebody that was a rookie of the year who was slashing over like 250 or whatever, and then they made this trade for an outfielder. Well, he's a catcher. I think he's a catcher predominantly, right? He's a catcher outfielder who is slashing like less than 150 or whatever, but he spent some time down in AAA and was slashing like over 3 something. So it's very interesting. Maybe they see the potential in having a young catcher that they can kind of build around with the rotation that they have, and then kind of seeing where that goes. Because as we've seen, I don't want to necessarily use Adley, but the catcher position had turned the Orioles around. I mean, also his offensive prowess also turned them around. And looking at these numbers don't show offensive prowess maybe yet, but maybe down the road, maybe that they can turn them around. Or maybe they don't really need his bat in the lineup, and Seattle's just looking at him as a strictly defensive catcher, kind of like how Maldonado is for the Astros, where he does really well behind the plate, knows everyone in the staff, but can't hit over 100 to save his life all season. Maybe that's it. It's kind of hard to speculate because you didn't really get to see a whole lot of either player this year. So
it makes sense to me if he was more for a defensive option because, I feel like Cal Raleigh, especially after the postseason last year, kind of has that position locked up for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
what do you got, Ty? Excuse me.
So I actually like the move for the D-backs. Not so much from Kyle Lewis's career standpoint. But maybe because the D-backs have so many young outfielders, maybe he doesn't have to worry about playing center so much. They slide him, to left or right, and kind of make sure that he stays healthy in that aspect. That's why they're willing to bet on him, staying healthy because they don't need him to be defensively great. what they need, is that rookie of the year who showed some great plate discipline for his age, and see if he can spark something. So I think given an opportunity is great, and you didn't give up that much. I mean, like I said, Hummel is like one of those guys who could play catcher, you know, outfield as well. So the fact that you got a rookie of the year for someone who also had a shortened season, I think it could be a potential steal that works in the D-backs' favor. But the D-backs, their concern is let's just get something in the building. Let's improve anywhere, and we'll take whatever we can get. I think that's what the position the D-backs are in right now, and that's why this trade happened. And not to mention, you factor the D-backs have like I don't know how many lefty hitters. You finally got your right-handed guy, so hopefully that helps you out in that aspect too. So the trade made sense from that standpoint because I think every outfielder they do have right now is a lefty,
Yep.
or at least 90%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if he can't play in the field every day, he may be able to go most days at DH when he's not being an outfielder. So,
Yeah.
It's an option.
Yeah. So, all right, that's all. That's all I got for transactions.
So let's move on to the rumors part of the show. We won't take up too much time, but how about in LA? I mean, first and foremost, what the Dodgers have done. They got rid of Kyle Anderson off the books. They got Cody Bellinger off the books, and it looks now that there's a lot of smoke and everything brewing over there that they're going after Judge, which wouldn't surprise me. And my guy Kyle over here called that. So go ahead, Kyle. Touch on that first, and then we'll throw it around.
So I know this is Ty's team, but I'm going to say, I called it towards the end of the season, the last, probably 50 games. I said, wouldn't it be interesting to see Belly not get brought back to LA, and then they're going to clear space to try to pull Judge. Now, that looks like it's becoming reality more and more every day, because not only do they not have Belly on the books, they don't have Belly, they don't have Price, and they don't have both Turners on the books either. So they cleared almost, I think it was $100 million in space just by all of that. Now that $100 million can go a long ways, but they have other needs too. So I was looking at it. Oh, it kind of went away, I think. Yeah, it went away. So their needs is like they need outfield, they need third base, and they need a couple other things. So does signing Judge help the outfield need? Yes. But now you still need to fill your shortstop. You need to fill third base, and then probably a couple arms too. So do they do that with who they have in the minors? That's a huge potential, because the one thing that the Dodgers do better than most teams is draft and develop. Since most of the guys that they have are homegrown guys, I think they have the flexibility to do that, especially the guys that we've seen over the last couple of years have been pitching. Their pitching has been dominant. I think they can move some of those guys, if they needed to, move some of those guys into the bullpen or vice versa. I think it doesn't hurt them either way. But having Belly off the books, I think they said Red Sox are heavily looking at Belly, and someone else was looking at him too, but I can't remember who it was. It'll come to me. But that's what I've seen was Red Sox have been thrown out there the most when it comes to Bellinger. What do you think, guys?
Go ahead, Ty.
So I hope Belly is okay with, because what this is of course making sure money is on the table to make sure you keep Trey Turner, make sure you can offer somebody else, a big contract. He was due between 17 or 19 million this year. And while it's unfortunate his career took the turn that it did after serious injuries, he doesn't look the same, except for the only thing that he has elite going for him is his defense. And when you have other emerging outfielders or other talent that you didn't expect, like, Mr. Thompson, then you can afford to, kind of reassess, like, where do we want to allocate money? And we needed the money available. So I hope he will take a pay cut. I don't imagine, because guess who is his agent? This guy right back here.
Right.
So
Yep.
he knows how to leverage, a former, NL MVP, Rookie of the Year, Gold Glover, type caliber player, and who's entering his prime, arguably at what 27 or so. So I wish Belly the best, but yeah, we needed the money, and instead of dealing with the luxury tax like we have been doing, like we only got one World Series championship out of this core, and while it was a great run, we need more. We're looking towards the future now. Same reason why Turner might go, just because he's a little older, but not Trey Turner, but Justin Turner. So we'll see what happens here. I think the Dodgers are trying to make sure they're in a position to watch what the market is doing amongst four different shortstops that all are money, and potentially if you can also make a pass at Judge, you do it. So but if Belly decides like, hey, he loves LA so much and his franchise so much, and he wants to stick around and take that pay cut and not, get money elsewhere, I'd be happy for that too for him. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, Storms.
Man, Aaron Judge is a tough one to call, because it's like you feel like he's not going anywhere. At least I do. But the Dodgers are that team, though. They're the ones. They are the one team that it seems like almost every year ends up with a player that you never imagined would change jerseys.
Or the best player from the previous year.
Yeah.
Or somebody steps up to the plate, like a Chris Taylor or a Trace Thompson.
Mm-hmm. And man, whether they end up with Judge or not, I still feel like he's going to stay in New York, I think. But I think that LA is going to end up probably with Dansby Swanson at short. Because I feel like of the shortstops that are out there, he may be one of the last, the big name shortstops. He may be one of the last one or two to sign, because other teams are going to be looking at a couple of these other names. But I think Dansby might give you, outside of Trey Turner and Carlos Correa, I think he gives you better value than Xander Bogaerts, just because he's going to cost less, and you're going to get about the same production. And then I think Justin Turner is probably going to end up back at a little bit lower salary. That's just another guy where I can't picture him anywhere else. But yeah, I think Judge isn't going anywhere. I think Hal Steinbrenner said what he did about how they're not messing around, and in so many words said they won't be outbid. I think mostly to try and scare other teams away from making an offer and try and keep their own tab down. But I think the Yankees are going to do whatever they have to keep him.
So I agree with you, but I also said Judge was going to may get looked at by the Giants. That's still a possibility. I didn't see this coming, meaning, the Dodgers, just because the amount of money they're paying Mookie Betts, the amount of money they have everywhere else, and then a lot of the people that they have also in their farm system, which they can bring up and take that position. But it doesn't, surprise me, because since 2020, they've done this. 2020, they signed Mookie Betts. 2021, they traded for Scherzer and Turner. This year, they got Freddie Freeman. They yanked him from Atlanta as a free agent, and now they're going against the AL. They're going to get the AL home run king, and who knows? I hate that smirk that you have on your face, Ty.
I said I don't think Judge is coming to LA. I don't see it happening, because it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yes, it is. It is. For sure is, but that lot of money is going to make your team that much better. But yeah, so this is part one or a couple of shows that we're going to be doing for you guys with rumors, trades, or whatever, goes on in the MLB. So stay tuned for the next shows because we're going to keep bringing you more stuff with players going on, trades, and all that good stuff. Obviously, always catch us on our weekly show that we do, whether it's Wednesday, Thursday. We always give updates in the group and also on the scene. So that way people come in and join us. If you want to join us, come and debate us, whatever it is. Go ahead, guys. Kyle, I'll start off with you. Say your goodbye.
But sorry, is it me?
Yeah.
No, the other Kyle.
You're like, am I Kyle? Hold on.
And I looked in, I'm not paying attention whatsoever. Yeah, stay tuned, guys. There's a lot of shit going on, and by shit I mean stuff. For trades and rumors coming up, a lot of shortstops on the market. There's going to be a lot of big names coming off. One of the bigger names to watch for is Correa in that move, because I think that's going to set the bar for a lot of what happens for this year, especially as far as the shortstop market goes. And then also Trey Turner. Watch out for that too.
Yep.
Just play out.
Go ahead, Ty.
All I can say is if it's true that Turner wants to go to the Phillies, why? Don't do it. Don't stay. Don't make me beg on here because if I have to, I will. But just don't go to the Phillies, man. No, not them, please. But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see, how the market shifts once, the marquee names make their decisions. So enjoy free agency for what it is. It's a spin of the wheel, roulette at its finest. Place your bets.
Go ahead, Storms.
I'm not gonna lie, Ty. Trade of Philly just has this like unstoppable, inevitable sort of feel to it.
Don't you put that evil on me category.
That's a I don't know, man. For me though, I was happy to see that the Reds designated Aristides Aquino for assignment, and hopefully that experiment is over. That man, he's got a cannon for an arm. He's a great fielder, but 5 years now in the big leagues, and he still can't hit a breaking ball. Can't even hit a low and away fastball that's still over the plate. So, had to go. Just please, Cincinnati, do something to. I want if you can just lose less than 90 games this coming year.
Asking a lot.
I am asking a lot.
Make it close. Third place. Make it close. Just go for third place.
I would really like to see them make a run at Benintendi. He's from Cincinnati. Hopefully you can get him for a hometown discount if you can convince the guy not to buy into being part of a rebuild. The outfield is so thin throughout the whole organization. And I could do a whole show on the Reds. I guess I'll leave it at that. But thank y'all for watching. We'll be, like Kyle said, and Jorge, we'll be back with rumors and transaction updates throughout the off season. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. And we are going to be having, we're not done having special guests either. So, stay tuned.
Yep. We will have special guests. And like I said, if you want to be on, let us know. We'll shoot you the link. Of course, as always, this is The Scene. Well, The Dish, brought to you by The Scene. So see you guys later. Peace.